Hey folks, hey, we're back at it again. Another video for you guys. I enjoy when you guys follow along. I enjoy showing you do things each week. Today, something you haven't seen in a while. Got the bike apron on, so that means we got a bike repair. This came in. You saw it come in the last video, or where I did I mentioned on the last video. So it's on a stand. We're gonna give it a quick once over. I'll bring you along with that. Then as I'm doing some of the projects with it and showing you what we're doing, I'll bring you along. So, that's first things first. Let me get you off the stand here. Hey guys! Let's bring you off the stand here. Well, first thing we see, this bike has the cantilever, but they're actually V-brake mounts, and they're over here. Got a broken reflector. We've got our shifters and brake levers. They're all here. We've got the shifter cables are still connected to the shifters. We have a slight issue here with our front derailleur where it looks like it's bent pretty bad. As we come back here, again, we got our cantilever mounts, but nothing on them. They are the V-brakes. Again, they're laying on my workbench. We've got the rear derailleur here, which, from what I saw earlier, it was actually shifted down pretty good. So it looks pretty good. Let's check this rear wheel. Just as a quick cursory glance, it looks like the rear wheel is pretty straight. Let's go give the front wheel a quick spin. And looking at that there, that looks like it's pretty straight. So, first thing we're going to do with this, well, first thing I usually do is give it a once over, which is what we just did. Let me get you put back on my tripod if everything will work with me. First thing I want to do, apologize for the noise from outside, folks. First thing I want to do is I want to get the wheels off, give it a quick wipe down, and then we'll go from there. This does have quick release wheels, so it's not going to take much to get the wheels off of it. Hopefully. The couple that brought this in said their kids got a hold of it, and they're the ones that took the parts off and things like that. So, as a reference, people, if you have bikes, don't let your kids on them unless you're right there watching them. This is the first one of these that I've done in my life, and I'll guarantee it won't be the last one. Free wheel looks pretty good. Chain looks pretty good. Well, let's get into it, folks. I guess there's nothing about it but to do it, huh? Well, let me get my cleaner real quick and a rag. My cleaner and my rags was here on my cart. Let's give it a spray. Now, it says totally awesome on the bottle, but it is not. This is a mixture of dishwashing liquid and water. It's not real bad on the parts. It's just enough of a cleaner and just enough of the soap in it for it to change color and make it a decent cleaner. So, again, there's not a lot exciting going on here. So, we'll make this a quick wipe down. You guys have seen that. Then, next step, I will be putting the rear brakes or the front brakes back on it. So, let me get this wiped down and I'll bring you back with that. Okay, folks, we got the the rear triangle here in front of you. We got the rear brake. These brakes don't matter front or rear. First thing we're going to do is get this old cable out of here. So we're working with a clean slate here. The next thing I like to do before I get started on putting these back together, I don't know how long they've been apart. There's some old grease on here. So I want to take a piece of steel wool and give them a quick wipe down to make sure they're smooth. Again, I want these to be smooth. I don't want them to feel rough. That feels pretty good there. Now, on these rear brakes, you'll notice we've got 3 spring spots. On the back of these brakes, there's a spring. There's a spring post here that goes in this. Looks like I grabbed the front brake. Nope. Had it backwards. Okay. The spring. This is the inner part of the tension spring. Anytime we put one of these together for the first time, we're going to put the bottom part of the spring in the middle hole. Now, before we go any farther with that, what we need to do is we need to get a little bit of grease. And I'm using Finish Line grease, premium grease. This is 100% synthetic, it says. Now, I've had this tube of grease. It's been around for a couple years. This is one of the tubes I had when I closed my old shop down. I closed that shop down in '99. This stuff still works nice and smooth. Works as smooth today as it did back then. So, yeah, I still use this on my bike. I'm not picky. So, let's put this brake on. Just slides down over the post. Goes in the middle. Then we'll give it a couple moves and see how it feels. It feels nice and smooth. Okay, this is the opposite side. We're going to do the same thing. Put it in the, let's see here. Put it in the middle. Hold that. Again, that feels good. I want to make sure they have about the same tension. Oh yeah, that's real good. So we'll get the bolts for them. Pull the grease back out again. Some of these have Loctite on them, some don't. Me personally, I've always put a little dab of grease on them because after time these things do stick and make it to the point where you can't get them apart to service them, which again makes it tough from the factory because if you get this bike and these have not been off in 5 or 6 years, well, one, you're slacked on your maintenance, but two, these can be a real bear to take off. Get my Allen wrench out here. And we'll tighten these down snug. You guys don't need to see me tighten the bolt. But I'll tighten this one. We'll move on. We'll do the same thing on the front. When I was doing my cleanup and the spray down, I had these parts on the workbench. behind you guys, and I'll wipe them off too. I did that off camera because, again, you don't need to see me washing bike parts. Okay, I've got those on, so I'll get the front ones on, and then we'll go from there. Well, as you can see, we're back, and I have the V-brake arms on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a new brake cable in front of this. I start by running the cable to the brake lever, and that way then I run it into the adjuster. I take them out and I clean them also. And we'll get that screwed in. Now this was one of the pieces that they were missing on this, so I went and got one out of my parts bin. Just so, again, we got to get these guys back on the road. Do you want to be able to ride this week while they're here in town? Okay. Now I do have their old brake cable, front brake cable. I got a spool of cable here, or housing. I got a spool of housing here. Let me grab my couple tools that I need. Now, when I disassembled some of this, let me get you over here where you can see what we're doing. Like I said, I got the old housing here. We got some new housing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the old housing compared to the new housing. Get me my length mark. That's going to be right here. We'll get that cut. These are, I don't think you can see it. They say Shimano. These are the Shimano cable cutters, or housing cutters and cable cutters. These have the spots to crimp the old style metal furrows down. Let's see, will an end fit in there? Yes, it will. So the new ends that we get aren't the metal ones. We get the new plastic ones, and that's just kind of the new industry standard. So put a new end on here. If I can get it on there right. Okay. Put the ends on, and I'll be right back. Okay, we got the housings on. So we're going to run the new cable through the new housing. Nice and cleanly. I was hoping it would be nice and easy. There we go. When you cut them off, they get a little sticky on one end. Even though I open it up with my tool, they still get a little sticky. Now, front brake housing and cable, I like to run behind everything else. But that's a personal preference for me. That's just the way I've been doing it for years. So that's kind of the way I'm going to continue to do it. Now, they got the cable housing here at the end where the cable goes through. They got it tweaked out a little bit. So we're going to try to give it a little straighten so it'll hold the cable and everything right. This is the problem with used bikes, especially when the kids get a hold of them. They tend to be tweaked out, broken, bend a little bit farther. It's one of them things, knowing how they're supposed to look and how they're supposed to work. 9 times out of 10, as a mechanic, you can straighten them up and get them put back together the way they're supposed to be. Now, we've run the cable through the housing. Next thing is to run the cable through the noodle. Run it up. Then this is just a protective boot that keeps as much of the grit and grime out of your brake housing as it can. Can't keep it all out, but it can keep some of it out. Okay, we'll get that lined up there. It looks like I'm going to have to open it up just a little bit, but that's fine. And one of the things I like to do, I like to kind of do a little bit of cable management here while I'm at it. I don't know exactly where these are supposed to be on the wheel once we get the wheel put in here, but one of the things that I like to do is personally, I'll pull them up close. Again, I know these aren't adjusted right for this bike yet. I'll bring it up here and get it close. Tighten the nut down, the anchor bolt. Tighten that down just a little bit. Again, it's nowhere near set where it needs to be. So we'll come back to that. We're going to do the same thing on the rear. Then we will start getting everything adjusted up. I'll bring it back when we're ready for that. Well, folks, ran out of battery. Didn't realize it. I got the bike all put together. It's shifting and braking properly. It's wiped down pretty good, and it's actually doing pretty good for us right now. It will need a new front derailleur. I don't have those in stock, and by the time I get one, these customers will be home because they just come in for a couple days. So I'm going to recommend to order one, and if they come back down this way, let me know, and I'll put it on while they're here. If not, they can take it to their local bike shop that they have back home, and they should be able to change it out and replace it for them pretty inexpensively there. So I kind of like getting a bike back in that's a bike back in to work on for you guys. This is what I was kind of hoping most of my videos were going to be about. We're back into the summer weather, so I'm hoping we can get some more bike videos in for you. But again, as always, folks, we're going to you're going to bring it home with whatever my weekly project is. I'm going to get all my... Okay, folks, sorry about that. We did lose our audio battery this time, so we'll finish this over with a voiceover. I enjoy bringing the bikes back to you. Hopefully we'll get some more of those in this year. And again, follow along, folks. You never know what type of project we're going to bring to you each week. I never know what type of video I'm going to bring to you each week. So if you like this video, hit that like button, follow us, and subscribe to us. And we hope to see you next week, same time. We love you, folks, and may God bless you all.